future is now. And welcome to the SVK Crypto podcast. 15 minutes of crypto fame.
My name's Charles Storry. I will be your host for the next 15 minutes. We're coming live from the city of London. So let's get down to business. On today's show, we have a slightly different format. We have the co-founder of Switcheo Networks, Ivan Poon, on the show. Ivan's going to be bringing us up to speed on the exciting new ICO that's going to be helping the decentralized exchange space, and they're going to be the first one with a working prototype to do this. So it's exciting. We're privileged to have Ivan on the show, so we're going to jump straight into the first question. Let's get into it. Would you be so kind to give us an overview of the Switcheo network as a whole?
Okay, so Switcheo Network is a decentralized exchange that right now is going to be on the Neo platform, but what we're really looking for is for it to go cross-chain and then to be a network of decentralized exchanges on each upcoming blockchain, basically. And so that users can trade their tokens, their assets, whatever it may be, immediately the moment they are tradable.
And is this an idea you've been working on for a long time? Is this something quite new? I mean, where did the idea originally come from?
So we're looking at basically the whole blockchain ecosystem, distributed ledger technologies in general. So I find that in general, the best projects are those that either improve the blockchains directly through either security, scalability, or those that are involved in trading of the assets directly, because these are this is basically the main revenue generators of the main flow of cash or value, basically, in the ecosystem currently. So a lot of companies nowadays, they create it's technically exciting, but I'm not sure if they're actually wanted by the consumers. Whether the market is actually there. Whereas for exchanges, I feel that the numbers don't lie, and it's as an entrepreneur, this is the best market to enter in the whole blockchain ecosystem.
I like that.
Yeah.
And Ivan, on a more personal note, what excites you most about the space and the potential within it? I mean, what excites you, what engages you, and what keeps you motivated?
Yeah, so the idea that you can have value currency. I wouldn't call it currency, but really that you can decentralize the ownership or the security of value. I think that's that on its own is really exciting. But the problem is that right now, when you want to exchange this value for, say, something that you think will be more valuable next time, so basically trading of tokens, correct? You actually give up this whole philosophy of of taking ownership of what you actually own, and you pass it on to a third party, say, I don't know, Binance or Huobi or whoever, the centralized exchanges that are going to escrow your money, your assets. So that's something we think it's an eventuality, and that's what motivates us. That's what makes us so sure that this project will be a success, because it's actually in line with the whole the whole distributed ledger ideology, if you will.
Absolutely. And this is something obviously that is going to be very impactful for the space as well. So we're very excited for this to be released. Now, Ivan, would you be so kind to speak about the difference between Switcheo Network and the Next Exchange? Because I know the projects often get compared in the same sentence. So would you be so kind to outline the differences?
Yeah, you're definitely right. I've heard it like a lot of times already. But basically, I think Next is quite focused on the new blockchain at the moment, whereas we really want to target, we really want to go multi-chain as soon as possible. That's the first key difference. I mean, eventually they might do ERC20, etc., but it's probably not their priority. The other thing, of course, is that we are aiming to launch sooner than them. I believe Next will only conduct their crowd sale in April, whereas we intend to launch before April. So that's another key difference. I feel that in that aspect, we should have the first movers advantage. Besides that, I do think that I read the white paper. Technically, the key difference for their implementation is that they're a hybrid decentralized exchange, meaning that the only thing that's actually on chain is the settlement, if you will. So people who want to use their decentralized exchange actually talks to a centralized API. The order matching is centralized. The broadcasting to the nodes and the writing to the nodes is also centralized, meaning that if they lose the private key or let's say if they shut down the centralized server, there's no way to actually interact with this with the smart contract and trade directly on it. I think the only thing that still works in that case is the withdrawal of assets for them. So on the Switcheo side, however, every operation can be done by anybody. So you're trying to make it truly decentralized for Switcheo, and so the order book can be queried directly from the nodes. The order matching is done by the client and by the node. We can do off-chain services to help track your transaction history, etc. But those are auxiliary in the sense that they are not critical to making use of the smart contract. Meaning
right.
Meaning that anyone else can develop their own client and trade with the Switcheo Network's smart contract.
So Ivan, how do you think, or how key do you think it is having first mover advantage in gaining adoption of your platform and thus creating liquidity?
I think it's one of the most important things. Not the most important, but one of the most important, because mindshare it's quite critical in the whole blockchain system, I think. However, that doesn't mean that we'll just launch something quickly and then not improve on it. Of course. We have seen IDEX can take over. IDEX can take over Ether Delta in terms of their volume, just as Binance has taken over, say, BitTrax or the previous incumbents. So we will let our guard down, even though we might launch first. And at the same time, we will also tackle the current incumbents in say the decentralized exchanges like IDEX, or even the centralized traditional exchanges, meaning that we intend to compete with them head to head once we launch on sufficient blockchains.
Awesome. And now you mentioned there about IDEX competing with, the likes of Bitfinex, so on and so forth, or Binance competing with the bigger exchanges. You're positioning Switcheo as a decentralized exchange which can compete with centralized exchanges such as Binance. What features of Switcheo do you think will allow you to do this or help?
So I think the key thing that we need to provide our users is familiarity first. So users coming to the Switcheo exchange should basically immediately know how to use it, because it looks like Binance basically. and that will help adoption of users who are already on the centralized exchanges. The other thing also, for each function that exchange does, we wanted to do it better. So, for example, when you want to trade, right now, let's say if I just got the ontology airdrop, correct? I want to sell it. That would take, I don't know, like 10 confirmations or whatever to transfer, and then after transferred, then I trade, and then when I want to withdraw it, I have to wait for. I mean, for Neo, it's a bit faster because the transaction speed and block time is faster, but still I have to wait for however many confirmations. Whereas for our exchange, you immediately just use your ledger or your wallet file, and you can trade directly from it. Meaning you deposit and you do your exchange, your trading in one step. And I think the speed and the time saved is it's going to be really attractive for our new users. So in general, what we really want to do is to do at least as good as the centralized exchanges in terms of UI, UX, and functionality. And where possible, we will do even better than that. And so it's not just one feature that is going to allow us to compete with the centralized exchanges, but it's everything in general.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. Now, could you explain how you plan to implement cross-chain swaps in the future, and what blockchains will you support? Because it's obviously very key to Switcheo Network being a success.
Right. So for cross-chain, it's definitely still in the R&D phase, but we have identified a few methods to do this. So the first one is, of course, to use other protocols that are being developed specifically to assist cross-chain swaps, cross-chain transfers, and basically cross-chain interactions. One such protocol, in fact, it's a blockchain on its own, it's OneChain. As mentioned, it's mentioned briefly in the white paper. But at the same time, we don't want to say that we are going to rely on them to enable us to do cross swaps across the different blockchains. So the alternative is for us to develop our own cross swap mechanisms. Most likely, we are more interested in getting the functionality out rather than trying to make it too complex or too flexible. So if we develop it on our own, what we'll do is to do a very standard kind of atomic swap, like the hash time lock swap. And in this case, we'll just swap our Switcheo token from one chain to another, and that will be the base pair, the basic pair or the base currency that it's that allows you to transfer value. Of course, it's not as simple as this. But the idea is that we'll hide. Yeah,
I'm sure not.
The idea is that we'll hide everything behind a layer, such that the user won't actually have to see this token is being swapped to here and then it's moving across to this chain, etc. So we just develop a nice UI. It's due to the nature of atomic swaps, it might not be instant, but we're just trying to make it as user friendly as possible. I don't think people mind waiting like 30 seconds to do a swap, as long as it's obvious, it's shown to them and they understand that something is going on. Yeah.
And Ivan, how's the community responded to your project thus far? Because I know from being a community member that it has absolutely taken off. Can you, in your own words, can you kind of describe to the listeners out there that haven't heard of Switcheo Network what's been happening and the way everyone's responded? Were you prepared for this type of response?
Yeah, it was actually the response was a lot way better than we actually anticipated, and yeah, and that's why we we had to like adjust our allocations a few times. We had to figure out the best way to both ensure our project success and also at the same time making sure our community isn't left out. But it's growing massively. If anyone listening wants to follow us, jump on our Telegram. It's just at Switcheo.
Absolutely, and for the listeners out there, we will have all the links in the description as well. So while you're listening, you can go to the description and check out the Telegram and the website. So Ivan, where do you see Switcheo Network in a year's time in the ever-growing cryptocurrency landscape?
I really hope to be one of the top volume exchanges in 1 year's time. Basically on CoinMarketCap, I want to be in the top 10 when you do coinmarketcap.com/exchanges. Yeah, that's our only goal really. And and I think to do that, we will be listening to our users a lot. And we just want to make it a really awesome product for everyone.
That's great. And we're going to do everything we can in London, and our community is going to do everything they can to support you in that. Now, Ivan, is there anything you would like to share exclusively with the SVK Crypto listeners out there?
I don't have anything exclusive right now, but one thing that isn't really announced publicly is that we are actually releasing our exchange for users to test for real. Right now, it's just like you can't really test it because you have no tokens. That will be done next week. So do keep an eye out on our Telegram announcement chats because that's when you can really use it and give us feedback and let us know what you think.
Awesome. Well, listen, Ivan, thank you so much for making it on today's show. I know that you guys are absolutely rammed with your ICO and most importantly, the decentralized exchange that you guys are working on. So we salute you at SVK Crypto in London. Thank you so much for making it on the show. And we look forward to having you back on very shortly to inform all the listeners on the great progress you guys will be making.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I just want to say a big thank you to Ivan once again for making it on the show. We really appreciate it. We know you're super, super busy with your up and coming ICO, and we love what you're doing for the space with the first decentralized exchange. It's very exciting. We're glad to be part of the process. So remember to tweet us at SVK_crypto. Join our Telegram, SVK Crowd, one word. Hit us up. Join the ever-growing community. And also email myself if you have any questions, queries, of anything of the sort. My email is cstorry, CSTORRY, at svkcrypto.com. Have a fantastic day. And if anyone's in London, remember to hit us up at the Crypto Investor Show tomorrow, which will be the 10th of March at the Queen Elizabeth II building next to Westminster. If you have any questions, hit me up via email. I can get you a discount as well. So have a phenomenal day. That's a wrap. I got to bounce. And we look forward to coming back next week.
You've been listening to an SVK Crypto podcast original. Follow us on Twitter at SVK_crypto. Email us on cstorry at svkcrypto.com. Leave us a message on our website www.svkcrypto.com.